We didn't think it was necessary. We thought that it was going to cause more harm than good, and that if he was now with his person, that surely that's enough. Why go that far?
I think it's a problem for him, but it also illustrates another problem for him, is that he and Meghan have become very divisive in the US as well as over here.
There has always been...
Prince Harry arrived at Cannes expecting royal treatment, velvet ropes, flashbulbs, the works. Instead, he got stonewalled. Security denied him entry on the spot because, bluntly, he wasn't on the list. What should have been a glamorous appearance became a public embarrassment, a stark reminder that not even royal blood guarantees access anymore.
Eventually, maybe, lots of families have disputes, and over time, they can heal.
Once the golden child of the British monarchy, the rebellious spare with charm to spare, Prince Harry now faces a far colder reality. His name doesn't hold the same weight it used to. That truth landed hard at the 78th Cannes Film Festival in 2025, where he was turned away at the gates like a forgotten seat filler, not the Duke of Sussex.
You may disagree, but I don't think he's open to the idea that Harry...
No red carpet, no warm welcome, no whispered, "Right this way, Your Highness." Just a curt, "You're not on the list," delivered by a bored security guard. And just like that, a man born into global recognition was left standing on the sidewalk, looking less like a royal and more like an influencer hoping to crash the party. A Windsor denied at the door. Let that sink in.
In the family, as such, there's a spare and the heir. Mm-hmm. My brother being the heir and me being the spare, and so I think it was just a really good opportunity to choose a title that had been somewhat used against me.
Cannes is no stranger to spectacle, but this was Shakespeare in designer sunglasses. Prince Harry arrived suited, styled, and radiating the same royal swagger that once made headlines just for existing. He clearly expected doors to swing open and flashbulbs to light his path. Instead, he was met with a cold, professional, "Credentials, please. No pass, no badge, no exceptions." Security didn't flinch. Eyewitnesses say Harry looked stunned, like the idea of being unrecognized had never even occurred to him. He reportedly tried to pull rank, casually dropping, "I'm Prince Harry," into the conversation. But the guard wasn't biting. No credentials meant no entry, title or not. And so there he stood, awkwardly lingering at the entrance, waiting for someone, anyone, to fix it. No one did. Inside, stars and moguls walked the red carpet. Outside, the Duke of Sussex watched them disappear into the glamour without him. Cameras flashed, but this time it wasn't admiration, it was mockery and pity.
Whereas for the spare, that's not really what you should do.
Within minutes, the moment was everywhere. Social media detonated. Hashtags like Sarn Can Clapback and Prince on Paw trended worldwide. Twitter was savage. TikTok, merciless. Let's not sugarcoat it. This wasn't some innocent scheduling mix-up. This wasn't a last-minute clerical error. This was a statement. The world no longer bows to Prince Harry.
It's been upsetting, I think, for quite a lot of journalists to see how the whole royal scene has become bitterly divided and quite toxic. And, to be accused of racism has been really upsetting.
Harry's dramatic royal exit may have earned headlines, but it's becoming clear he left his influence behind at Buckingham Palace. The Netflix deals, the Oprah confessional, the Spotify flameout, the ghost-written memoir, they made noise, sure, but noise isn't clout. And Cannes just delivered the harshest reminder yet. Prince Harry no longer skips the line. Insiders say the snub sent shockwaves through the Sussex camp, though publicly, they've stayed silent. Meghan's absence didn't go unnoticed either, fueling rumors of behind-the-scenes tension. Was Harry trying to stage a solo power move that crashed on arrival? Or worse, Was this a last-ditch attempt to reclaim a spotlight that's slipping further out of reach?
It wasn't, it's not to say that by him saying, no, you can't do this, that there's a rule that says that I can't, right? It was more a sort of a brother, I guess, competition.
Whatever the reason, one thing is painfully obvious. The fairy tale is cracking. As the gates of Cannes shut in his face, the world didn't see a misunderstood royal. They saw a man who walked away from the throne, only to discover there's no seat waiting for him at any table. This wasn't just a red carpet snub. It was a symbolic unraveling. Prince Harry, once the media's golden child, caught in real time losing the very status he once took for granted. The cameras still flash, but they're no longer admiring. They're documenting the descent.
Troops, do you think your editors would support it? And everybody said, yeah, I think so.
So he was actually asking journalists for their opinion on how he should operate or what kind of projects.
He was once the lovable rogue of the monarchy, the cheeky rebel who injected heart into an otherwise stoic institution. But now Harry looks more like a man adrift, a former prince turned podcast guest, a duke reduced to documentary cameos, and a tabloid headline for all the wrong reasons. The fall didn't happen overnight. It started with the seismic split from the firm in 2020, a decision hailed as bold, even revolutionary. For a while, they were the poster couple for choosing love and liberation over royal rigidity. But public sympathy has a shelf life, and for Harry, it may have just expired.
100%. And I think, after I've done this, the book comes out, I would hope that other members of the family feel as though they can write the...
From the headline-grabbing Oprah interview to the carefully curated Netflix docuseries, and then Spare. Oh, Spare. Prince Harry's public image didn't just evolve, it began to unravel. What was pitched as a memoir of healing quickly read as a laundry list of grievances. Instead of humanizing him, it exposed a tangled mess of frostbite anecdotes and family brawls. The book wasn't just intimate, it was bitter, petty even, and not everyone was impressed.
I have never had it. It's called religious conversion. The Harry we have now is not the Harry we had.
What started as vulnerability began to feel like victimhood. The fight for justice looked more like a fight for attention. And Spare didn't spare him. It became the tipping point. That fine line between royal trauma and performative oversharing? He crossed it. And now, here we are. Prince Harry, once protected by palace walls, being physically turned away at Cannes like a D-lister trying to crash an A-list party. The symbolism couldn't be clearer. The world isn't waiting for Harry to find his footing anymore. Just when it seemed his reputation couldn't take another hit, a new storm broke, one that threatens not just his brand, but the core of who he claims to be.
I can remember him getting really quite agitated on that trip about something he'd read in Heat magazine. And we were sort of, why are you worrying about what's in Heat magazine? They haven't got a...
The Invictus Games, Harry's passion project, his legacy, was meant to be the one thing no scandal could touch. Since 2014, it stood as a symbol of courage, resilience, and his enduring bond with wounded veterans. It was the noble counterpoint to the tabloid chaos, a reminder that beneath the designer suits and streaming contracts, he was still a soldier at heart. But now, whispers have turned into headlines. Reports allege that $15 million has gone unaccounted for within the Invictus Foundation. Missing, misused, vanished. The kind of financial scandal that doesn't just bruise reputations, it detonates them.
What people don't know is the efforts that I've gone to resolve this privately.
Sources say Canadian officials, once eager to host future Invictus events, are quietly pulling back. Behind the scenes, internal audits have reportedly uncovered troubling inconsistencies, unclear expenses, patchy oversight, and financial red. Flags no one can ignore. What was once a globally respected cause now faces allegations of betrayal. And for Harry, who built so much of his post-royal identity around service, sacrifice, and solidarity with the military community, This couldn't come at a worse time. The Invictus Games weren't just his passion, they were his proof of purpose. Now, even that may be slipping away.
He was also very worried about, I remember him being worried about, the readers' comments underneath a news website's, not my current, that point website, but another newspaper company's website.
Imagine the headline, Prince Harry under investigation for charity fraud. It's not just a PR disaster, it's a full-blown reckoning. A scandal like this wouldn't just tarnish his philanthropic legacy. It could expose him to serious legal consequences. Criminal investigations aren't off the table, and according to insiders, investigators may already be closing in.
Having seen my family and the institution's part in constantly feeding the British press with lies, mistruths, disinformation.
Meanwhile, the silence from Harry and his camp is deafening. No statements, no denials, no clarifications. Just a void that's only stoking more suspicion and resentment. Veterans who once rallied behind him now feel abandoned. Donors who gave generously are demanding answers. And the public is left to ask the uncomfortable question, was Harry's service ever more than just a carefully crafted image?
There was a lot of nonsense said and written about him at times.
Well, there's a lot of news written about him at times. That's probably why they need a UK.
The fallout has been swift and merciless. Questions about Harry's leadership, judgment, and integrity are no longer whispered in private. They're front-page news, dissected in headlines and hashtags alike. The prince who once inspired millions is now fighting not for admiration, but for credibility. Because at this point, the Invictus scandal isn't just about missing money. It's about broken trust, fractured promises, and a legacy that's dangerously close to collapse.